awards betting preview and full Tuesday game betting preview of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. What's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, maybe wrestling, maybe even boxing. Whatever it is, you can get it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. That's right. Whatever card you want, use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And welcome to Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports. Brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Not only are we talking awards to wrap up our, I guess, like betting preview, futures preview series, right? We did the divisions last week. You can go back, you can look. Now we're doing the awards. But Andre, we have 3 games of NHL action. The North American side of the NHL finally starts today. We have 3 games to get into. I'm already complaining. Like, we're back. Hockey's in full swing. We got 3 games today, starting at 4:30 to 7:30 to 10:30. We got games all day long, and I'm already complaining. Why is Seattle and St. Louis kicking off the season at 4:30 in the afternoon, which, because the game is in Seattle, it's a 1:30 local start on a Tuesday. Don't know what we're doing there. Boston, Florida, great game. That's fine. And then Chicago and Utah is the first game of the nightcap. I don't know what we're doing where Chicago is the first game of the nightcap. I don't know what just happened, dude. You left and my computer just went haywire. But that's okay. We'll figure it out here as we go. I'm going to dip. What's that?
I think the Microsoft overlords in Seattle are mad at you for speaking black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably. But then Chicago and Utah, like, I get it. Utah is this new shiny toy, right? The failed franchise of Arizona moves to Utah. Chicago's got Connor Bedard, but, like, come on, man. Our first, like, you got Vancouver on the West Coast. You have the Kings, as much as I hate to admit it. You got Edmonton. Like, you got so many better Anyway, I'm happy hockey's back, but I can't help myself. Andre, how you doing, bro? I'm going to dip. I apologize to do this to you. I'm going to dip and fix my computer issue, and you just tell us how you're doing and maybe vent about your Yankees. I don't know. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, you're good. I'm doing pretty well. Can't complain. Yankees notwithstanding, I kind of expected that. I don't know. I like the Seattle matinee, the 1:30. Make it a little tradition, you know? Seattle gets a nice afternoon game to start the season off. They get to toss some fish in the market, whatever, get their little shine. They are the newest franchise in the league. As for Utah starting at 10, I know everyone wants to see Bedard. That's too late, especially if you're on the East Coast, blah, 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 blah. It's Bettman's vanity project. He wants to put them on prime time. He wants them to have that national spotlight, especially since it's their first game in Salt Lake City. Not surprised at all. Not going to be the greatest hockey game, obviously, if it's the Blackhawks and Utah Hockey Club as they are right now. Awful trend that Washington started, by the way. But I don't know. It's what Bettman wants to do. There's a reason we boo him when he's handing out the Stanley Cup every year. It's because he's a villain. And let's not forget that. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, every sport league, the commissioner is a villain. We boo those people. But I'm very excited that we get hockey back. Regular season hockey, and it's not just games in Prague between the Sabres and the Devils. That was kind of weird. Don't really like that it happened during the preseason. I like that this is now firmly regular season action. Curious. Florida's lucky, Mark, perfect timing, that Milton is allegedly supposed to be skirting the Miami area, or I guess just that south area. Right. I know Sunrise is in Miami, but kind of lucky for the Panthers as far as playing hockey. What that storm is about to do isn't looking good, though. And they had to cancel the Lightning's preseason game yesterday. So
yeah, and that's just tragic what's happening down there, man. Like the hurricane that already rolled through on the East Coast, now another one. So definitely thoughts and prayers to everybody involved there. And if you can help, if you can do what you can to help, there's lots of organizations, the Red Cross, and there's lots of organizations that you can, give whatever you can to help them out down there. So you may have told the people, but I missed it, bro. And this is me and you here. How you doing on a Tuesday, man? We pumped for some hockey or what? As underwhelming as St. Louis and Seattle may be.
I was telling people, I kind of like the Seattle matinee. It's kind of interesting. You get to toss some fish in the afternoon, put the newest franchise on a national spotlight. I think that could be an interesting tradition, just get the season started in Seattle at 1:30. But as far as the Utah thing, I also said, it's Bettman's vanity project. That's why it's getting that national project. That's why it's getting the national stage. It helps to get Bedard in there, but he just wants to show off, hey, I got a team in Salt Lake City. That's all there is to that.
If there's one thing we know about Bettman loves Bettman. We know that. He loves Bettman loves Bettman. And who can blame him? He's been, commissioner for 30 plus years. He's doing his thing, man. So this is what's going to happen today for those of you watching this show, either now or later. We're going to do the awards and talk some betting about the awards and futures in that market. And then we're going to break down all three games happening today. Tomorrow, just with scheduling conflicts, we're not able to do a show. So right when we're done here, we're going to log off and we're going to jump right back on and do Wednesday's game. So if you're watching, you're hanging around, the show's over, and you want to keep hanging around, just hang around. And we'll be back and we're going to go through all 5 games on the slate tomorrow. So let's dive right into it. The Vezina Trophy. And it's interesting with some of these betting futures, especially the Vezina and the Jack Adams, where if you play it right and you like a team to make it to the playoffs, you can almost bet these markets rather than the make the playoffs market, because if one thing happens, then the other thing's probably going to happen. But Vezina Trophy 2024-25, the reigning Vezina. Didn't Hellebuck win the Vezina last year? My memory is failing me. He did, right?
It would have been a travesty if he didn't.
Yeah, so the reigning champion plus 600, Jeremy Swayman plus 600, Igor Shesterkin also plus 600, your guy, Thatcher Demko plus 1,000, Jacob Markstrom plus 1,000, and Ilya Sorokin plus 1,000. Those are all your favorites. You have UC Saros at plus 1,100, Andre Vasilevsky at plus 1,200. Sergei Bobrovsky all the way at plus 1,500. Who do you like? Is it one of the favorites? You got your eye on maybe long shot, what do you got your eye on? And if I know you, why is it Igor Shesterkin?
All right, so here's what sucks here, right? I don't want to be biased. I really don't. But I feel like, one, I'll get this Swayman out the way. He got paid. He's the number one goalie now. There's no Olmark. There's no barrier stopping him from just taking over. And he's never won it before. Voter fatigue does matter. We'll get to that a bit later. I think it's more important for the heart. But Swayman has everything in front of him to get this award. Good defense and PK in front of him too. So I feel like Swayman is really good money. Igor is also really good money. And I'm not just saying that as a Rangers fan. He's in a contract year. In my humble opinion, he's the best goalie in the world. Year in, year out, you know he's going to be up there, or he's going to be a contender for it. He started out slow last year, still ended up having a good season. So, you know, unless he gets that extension early, he gets that new contract early, Shesterkin's going to have a lot of motivation to ball out, and you already know what he's capable of. So I know they're the two favorites, not getting the juiciest odds on those, but they both have great cases to do it on top of the fact that they're already just tremendous goalies. So 1 and 2 right there. It's interesting also, I'm looking at DK right now, so we have slightly different odds. They have Shesterkin as the favorite over Hellebuyck at plus 700, Swayman at plus 750. They have Shesterkin at plus 500. But looking at other options, I don't like Vasilevsky at plus 1100. That's kind of weird. I don't like Sorokin at plus 1200 unless he bounces back big time. Both of them are very interesting to me. Both of their teams expect to be a lot better. That equals wins, you would think. Markstrom already has a start under his belt, stopped 30 of the 31 shots he faced. He got a dub. It's a pretty good way to get things rolling. Markstrom's obviously a good goalie. There's a reason the Devils traded for him. This didn't want to trade him last year. You think with that offense, with the skaters in front of him just in general, he should have a really good shot at stacking wins. And maybe the save percentage isn't the best. Maybe the goals against average isn't the best, but he's going to have a lot of wins, you would think. So I think Markstrom's an option, not the best odds. Where did you have him as in odds?
Who?
On FanDuel, Jacob Markstrom?
Plus 1,000.
Yeah, so DK is plus 1,100. So you're getting quadruple digits for Markstrom. I think that's a solid option to throw some coin on. Saros, another great goalie. Unlike Saros has a Vezina though that might be held against him. You know, that's an not important. Oh no, he doesn't actually. He came third that year. So Saros, I think, is another one. The Predators, building off what they did last year, should have a 100-point season. That's at least where we're both leaning. He's led the league in games played the past 3 seasons, so he always over or around or over 915. Last year was the lone exception, funny enough. So I think Saros, I think DK has him at plus 900, a little under that plus 1,000, but I think Saros is another good option if you're not looking for the favorites to win the Vezina.
Yeah, so I agree with you on most of it. The one thing that I do disagree on, and I think he's going to have a good year overall, but the Jeremy Swayman piece, I'm really interested in, and I'm kind of leaning this way when it comes to Boston as a whole. When we're betting in the first few weeks, in the first month or two, I'm curious to see how missing training camp, what that means. Because we've seen that with like skaters where you miss training camp and the first 2 months you're a ghost out there. So I wonder, I'm sure Swayman was training, I'm sure he was practicing in some capacity, but it wasn't with the team and he played no preseason games. Now, how much does that matter? I think the fact that he wasn't in training camp at all matters more than the no preseason games. You know what I mean? Just the fact that he wasn't with the team, he wasn't practicing, he wasn't doing anything like that. I do wonder if He won't be playing tonight, as far as I know. Corpusalo will be in net tonight, and I would assume it would take a couple games for Swayman to get in the net. They'd probably want to get him practicing, get him kind of, in season form. So I do wonder if him not being in training camp has him off to a bad start or just a not great start. And then if Swayman rounds into full form in the middle of February, middle of like November, maybe that's enough for him to not get the Vezina. I don't know or not, but that kind of gets me a little bit weird. I think in normal circumstances, I would agree with you, but the fact that he missed training camp kind of has me a bit kind of weird on that. I think Connor Hellebuck, Shesterkin are both. I can't talk you out of those bets. Those are both great bets. I do wonder, Winnipeg's defense is no doubt, at least on paper, worse than it was last year. So how much does that matter? I don't know. But that's something for Connor Hellebuck. And I mean, you said it, man. He won it last year. And I don't know exactly if this is the way it is in regular sports, in normal sports, but hockey hates giving it to the same people. They hate it. I don't know what it is about it. They hate doing it. So that might be something to look at there. I do think Shesterkin is a good pick. The Thatcher Demko piece is really interesting because we still don't really know what's happening with him. We don't really know what his health is like. I don't believe he's going to be playing in the super near future, so we don't really know what's happening with Thatcher Demko. I agree with you with Jacob Markstrom. He's in a really good situation right now. The defense, especially if Dougie Hamilton stays healthy, when Luke Hughes comes back, the defensive situation in New Jersey is very good. I really like Jacob Markstrom to come on, and this is going to have the similar conversation to the Jack Adams, and it's what I kind of touched on before, is if the Devils either win the division or come second in the division, the playoffs have no bearing on this award. But if the Devils have like 105 plus points and like not only make the playoffs but very easily make the playoffs, then that's an even bigger, because they were awful last year for the most part, especially between the pipes, right? So if they come back and they win the division or get like second place in the division, then no doubt he's going to be at least nominated for the award, which you can also bet on. I thought that I had it here. I can't see it here anymore, but there are different books where you can bet on the finalists as well. The Sorokin thing, I don't really understand why he's up here. Like, I feel like if his odds were in the plus, I don't know, 2,000 plus range, I might consider it. But for Ilya Sorokin at plus 1,000, what am I missing, man? Yeah, he's a good goalie. He had an awful year last year. The coach that doesn't like him. I don't really. The Islanders aren't good, I don't think. Like, what am I missing? Why is he plus 1,000? I don't really know. You may be able to talk me into him at different odds, but plus 1,000 is way too short for me to bet Sorokin. I don't know. Do you disagree? I don't really understand what I'm looking at.
The coach doesn't like him is a devious line. I love it.
It's true. It's true, man. Varley's his guy.
It's potential, I guess. I mean, people still see or want Sorokin to be, that top 3 goalie, and he hasn't really shown it lately. He could be.
He's getting paid like it,
and we get paid to talk about results. So he's not giving us the results lately. That's all. Can't convince me either.
Yeah, I don't really understand that one. I love the UC Saros bet I do. I think the defense in Nashville is a lot better, and I think overall that team is just better. So I do like the UC Soros bet. The Vasilevsky bet I'm staying away from. The one that I find interesting. Oh, before I talk about the one that I'm really interested in, Sergei Bobrovsky and Jake Ottinger both at plus 1,500, I think is really, really good value. Like Sergei Bobrovsky, he's won it before, but him, and I know he's played a ton of hockey over the last 2 years, but Sergei Bobrovsky at plus 1,500 is terrific odds. And Jake Ottinger, I mean, the guy's never won it before. And, you know, last year, bit of a down year, but the playoffs, generally speaking, he was phenomenal. So Jake Ottinger, one of these years, he is going to win the Vezina. And so at plus 1,500, I think that's terrific odds for him to win the Vezina this year. The one that I'm really interested about, and I hate myself for even thinking this in my head, never don't even not even saying it out loud, just thinking it bothers me. But Linus Ullmark at plus 1,500, if I have a hard time even saying this. If Ottawa makes it to the playoffs, we're talking again, Vezina and Jack Adams, right? Like if Ottawa makes it to the playoffs and they don't need to do what New Jersey needs to do for Markstrom to win the Vezina. They don't have to win the division or get second place. If Ottawa gets the last wild card spot, I think Linus Ullmark is a massive reason why. And so plus 1,500 for Ottawa to make the playoffs essentially is what that is. I don't mind it. I mean, you know, Ottawa making the playoffs. We've seen this movie, but
one step at a time.
But I don't hate it though. Like if they make it to the playoffs, it's because of Linus Ullmark, at least 80%, right?
You would think, yeah. Interesting. I think it's kind of out there, but if you're a believer in Ottawa, it's not a bad bet. I mean, they've got him for a reason, right? He's going to be the number one. He's in theory going to stabilize things back there. There is one person we did not mention though, Mark, and this person got a Hart Trophy vote, MVP vote.
Oh,
yeah,
hit me.
A certain brother in the NHL, Charlie Lindgren. I didn't mean brother as in he was black. I mean he literally has a brother in the league. Charlie Lindgren.
It'd be different if I said it, but you can say it. It's fine.
Charlie Lindgren plus 4,000. He did get an MVP vote last year. That's all I'm saying. He was 8th in Vezina voting, but he's only 1 or 2 goals to get an MVP vote. Just gonna leave that.
So I like that we have different books that we're looking at right now. In the past, we've both been looking at DK, and I'm looking at FanDuel today. Charlie Lindgren on FanDuel is plus 5,500 on FanDuel. So, hey, and I mean, Washington, I mean, they made it to the playoffs last year, so maybe it's not the same argument, but I'm with you, man. I don't hate it. The only, who's in net with? Oh, yeah, Logan Thompson. That's the only thing that's keeping me away from it is that if Logan Thompson's healthy, I would assume that those two probably split 50-50 the games, I would assume. Unless Charlie Lindgren's just like that good. The other bet that I find interesting, and going along my theme of if they make it to the playoffs, then this guy should win the Vezina. And you're going to disagree with me right off the bat. Jordan Binnington. If the St. Louis Blues make it to the playoffs, he's the Binnington who won the Stanley Cup, right? That's plus 3,000 on FanDuel. So, and I mean, listen, there's no doubt he had his best year last year since he won the Stanley Cup. So if the Blues do well, plus 3,000. Trying to see if there's any other bets on here that I like. If we really want to get carried away with my theory, your guy, the best name to say in all of hockey, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, plus 15,000. If the Sabres, make it to the promised land. That's kind of a long one out there, but and the other one, just because I can't help myself, and I don't really know where I lean on this entirely, but for you Toronto Maple Leaf fans out there, Joseph Woll plus 4,000 to win the Vezina this year. Now, the thing that really leans me off of this is the fact that the guy just can't stay healthy. He's injured every year, and that it's a really, really tough pill to swallow. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, he gets hurt all the time. But if he stays healthy, all signs are pointing to him having an absolute breakout season. They paid him $3.5 million per year for a reason. And so I don't mind the Joseph Woll plus 4,000 sprinkle. But the more I look at it, man, Jordan Binnington plus 3,000, Jake Audner plus 1,500. It's already starting, bro. I'm getting swooned into this Linus Allmark plus 1,500. It's already starting. The Ottawa fever. I can feel it. I think I have a temperature.
Ontario pride is way too strong over there. I think we need to move on.
Well, and if this was 20 years ago, I would never even think of it because I'm a Leaf fan and we hate Ottawa fans, but they haven't been good enough for this to be a rival, so it doesn't really matter right now. You know what I mean? For a rival, you have to be good. You know what I'm saying? You both have to be good.
They had that one playoff run, Erik Karlsson. Lost in the conference finals, but they made it down.
Yeah, what was that? 2017. What am I even saying? The Leafs have won one playoff round since I was 14 years old. So what am I even talking about? All right, let's move on from the Vezina. Do you have any last minute kind of outside ones that you're looking at?
If the Canes commit to something, literally anything, Peter Kochetkov might be worth thinking about.
Oh, where's he at here?
I switched to
plus 4,500. What's interesting about that is him and Freddie Anderson on FanDuel have the exact same odds, plus 4,500 on FanDuel. Yeah. I don't know what DK's saying.
DK has them both at plus 5,000.
Plus 5,000. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Because you're basically banking on Freddie to not be good, and for Kochetkov, because I would imagine that they're giving Freddie the early reins. I haven't seen anything one way or the other. The other one I'll kind of throw out there, and I always get in my head about this guy. I can never quite figure out what I think about it, but your guy, Georgie, plus 5,500 for Georgie to win. The guy, his stats are always fine, but he wins the most games every single year. And maybe in the playoffs, he was pretty good, man. Maybe he finds something. Maybe he gets dialed in. And maybe this is the year. I don't know. And I think Colorado is extremely top heavy. And I feel like for them to really do some damage, I think Georgie's going to have to be really good. So maybe that's a good long shot. I don't know. I never know what I think about that guy, but plus 5,500 for Georgie.
I mean, his first year in Colorado, I guess that was 2 years ago, 40 wins, 918 save percentage, goals saved above average, 26.3. Got some Vezina votes, so it's possible. Georgie can return the form. Shout out to Georgie. I love you.
Miss you. All right. Moving on to the Norris Memorial Trophy winner. the James Norris. I don't know if I should admit this live on YouTube and on X. Shout out to Total Apex Sports, but I didn't know it was the James Norris. This is my first time knowing this. See, gambling helps people, man. It helps educate and teach. Kale McCarr, plus 230. Adam, wow, this is quite the disparity. I don't know, whatever. Kale McCarr, plus 230. Adam Fox, plus 600. Quinn Hughes, plus 600. Evan Bouchard, plus 750. Roman Yossi, plus 1,200. And Miro Heiskanen, plus 1,300. Who are you looking at for the James Norris Memorial Trophy winner?
Yeah, this award, the problem with it often is that it's just which defenseman has the most points. And then those first four names you said, Kale McCarr, Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, Miro Heiskanen, probably going to be the top 4 in points for a defenseman. Bouchard, because of that Edmonton power play. But, I mean, yeah, probably the 5 you should put your money on. If you want to think outside the box a little bit, Charlie McAvoy, if Boston's going to do anything, if Boston's going to go anywhere. Probably going to have another strong season from him. Might be worth a sprinkle. I'm not sure if he'll get to, the podium, but he'll give you a shot. He's plus 2,000 on DK. Not the worst money you can throw down. There's some other guys. Dougie Hamilton. We've talked about him a little bit in this one. If Jersey does what we think they're going to do, he's going to be a big part of it. He's going to have plenty of opportunities to rack up points, so he's another one they might be able to sprinkle on. He's plus 7,500. I know he already played 2 games. It's a little behind the 8 ball, but just something to throw out there. Victor stays healthy. He's still got it. He's still got some in the tank. So plus 3,000, another one worth a little sprinkle. But you're looking at You're looking at McCarr, Fox, and Hughes in particular as probably 1, 2, 3 again.
Yeah, I agree with you that that's basically what it is now, right? It's whoever gets the most points is probably going to win it. For that, my 2 favorites are Cale McCarr at plus 230 and Quinn Hughes at plus 600. I really like that one as well. I think everything that you said, man, Bouchard, I think is a really good pick. He really showed himself to the world last year, especially in the playoffs. I think Roman Yossi is going to get a lot more love this year at plus 1,200. He had such a good year last year and was kind of a quote unquote dark horse to win it last year. I think he's going to get a lot of love this year at plus plus 1,200. So I really, really like Roman Yossi. If you're taking out Cale McCarr and Quinn Hughes, probably that's my favorite one is Roman Yossi at plus 1,200. The one that, and I mean, hear me out here. If you're going on the theory, all right, breaking news. Did you just see this?
Yeah, I did.
Not hockey related, but the New York Jets have fired Robert Saleh. Oh, man. Is that Aaron Rodgers? Just like, that's Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, it took him 3 years to get rid of Zach Wilson, and it took him 5 weeks to get rid of Robert Saleh. You know what I'm saying? That has to be Aaron Rodgers, no?
Rodgers. I feel like it means that Adams is coming later in the day, but
who?
This reeks of Rodgers. Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a precursor. But
Yeah.
as we all expected, Brian Dable and the New York Giants are stable New York Jets, as we all
Oh,
said.
dude. That win by you guys the other day, oh man, I didn't even talk about this, bro. It's so infuriating when you make a parlay that includes the Arizona Cardinals, who is a like massive underdog. They win, and your parlay is lost by a blocked field goal and the Giants running it back for a touchdown. Just so infuriating. I can't even get into it. We're in the season of bad beats, so here we are. But anyway, for you football fans out there, breaking news: New York Jets fire Robert Saleh.
Jets are a hockey team. If it's
Yeah, they are. It's relevant.
yeah.
So a long shot that I really like, and if we're going by the theory of whoever has the most points wins the Norris, then this isn't a great bet. But an absolute darling in the NHL last year, his coming out party, he got paid. Gustav Forsling has emerged as one of the best defensemen in the NHL. Not going to get you 1,000,000 points, not going to outscore anybody else, but hands down is one of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. He's all the way at plus 10,000. And in Florida, you know, Brandon Montour's gone. They lost somebody else too that I can't recall. OEL is gone up here to Toronto. Now, not that OEL is some like number one pairing defenseman, but my point is just that it's a lot more is on Forsling now than it was last year. At plus 10,000, I think that's really, really good. Seems to be an understatement, but I don't know. What do you think, man? Gustav Forsling plus 10,000 to win the Norris after coming out last year as one of the best defensemen. I don't know. I think that's extremely good value.
That is an interesting call. I do like that. You expect their defense and goaltending to be good. A lot of goal prevention, if you will. He found a knack for scoring too, but I just feel like they're a little too balanced for him.
Right.
To get it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he's going to have just the numbers and everything popping out at you. That's like, oh yeah, this is our Norris winner. You know, they like the NHL loves the sexy round numbers. So I don't know if
you're right.
That guy. You're right. Great defenseman though. I think that's a good call. Great defenseman. But these awards voters, you know they are.
If the award was actually based on like defensive play, I think that would be a slam dunk, right? A couple others just to quickly throw out there. Brock Faber came out really good rookie year last year. He's plus 4,000. Josh Morrissey in Winnipeg, very good defenseman, plus 3,000. I think you mentioned him, but we can't overlook Victor Hedman at plus 1,500. So those are a couple other ones, but my favorite long shot, I really like Gustav Forsling, and plus 10,000. Throw $10 on it. See what happens. All right, moving on to the Art Ross Trophy. Kind of just, whoever has the most points. Now, I don't know what DK's saying. I don't know what you see over there. But over here, they're on FanDuel. There's two different markets for this. So there's the Art Ross Trophy winner, and then McDavid versus the field. So I'll get that one out of the way first. McDavid versus the field. McDavid is minus 160 and the field is plus 122. So there's that kind of right out of the way. Art Ross, McDavid minus 160, Nathan McKinnon and Kucherov both plus 500, David Pastrnak plus 1,500, Leon Draisaitl is also plus 1,500. Your guy Artemi Panarin plus 2,000. Jack Hughes plus 3,000. Rantanen plus 3,000. Kaprizov plus 5,000. Are you going chalk here with the Art Norris or the Art Ross? Sorry, or do you have a long shot up your sleeve?
Yeah. This is basically banking on how many games Connor McDavid plays. If he's healthy, you know who it's going to. If not, we could see another, Kucherov or McKinnon year. I mean, McDavid finished third last year. He missed 6 games, 8 points behind. So I guess it's not really as runaway as we would think, but he also came back early from the injury. He also, had a slow start. This is his to lose. I'm going to go out on a very drastic limb here, though, and say he's not even first on his team this year. Draisaitl beats him in points after getting the new contract.
I was thinking the same thing, man.
McDavid finishes second behind Draisaitl in points this year. I think my bold take for this is that Kucherov, and I think Kucherov should have won the Hart last year. That's a whole nother conversation.
Sure.
I don't think he can or third, honestly. I think he's outside the top 5. I don't know why yet. Maybe he doesn't have chemistry with the power play. Who knows? Maybe some long-term IR shenanigans, how the Lightning.
We're talking about Kucherov now?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be I think he's going to have a good season. Like, obviously, when he plays, he's going to score a lot. I don't think he's going to have a top 5 season, though, in points. If I'm going to bet on someone that's not McDavid, I think, and I'm just going to take a risk here because McKinnon's another pretty obvious one. I think I'll go Draisaitl 1, Panarin 2, Pastrnak 3. If I'm doing a non-McDavid bet on this.
Yeah. I'm right there with you with David Pastrnak and Leon Draisaitl, both of them plus 1,500. I really like those long shot bets because you're right. It's McDavid's award to lose, but I really do like those 2 long shot bets. I do like Artemi Panarin. What I'm interested about Panarin, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts on this, is the knock on Panarin in the past was just didn't shoot enough, right? Passing too much. And I do think, he's going to rack up his helpers for sure. But I feel like Panarin has to score a lot in order to get this award. I don't think it's like McDavid who's going to get 100 assists or whatever. Like, I feel like Panarin's going to have to split it 45-80 or something like that. You know what I mean? 45-90 or something crazy like that. Would you agree with that?
No, you're pretty spot on. I mean, the only difference between this year and let's say 21-22, I know he didn't play a full season that year, but he had 96 points, is the goal scoring. He had 49 goals last year, by far a career high. He had like 150 more shot attempts than he'd ever had in his career before. So you add the 71 assists because he's going to get 50. Well, with the Rangers, honestly, it's more like he's going to get 60 plus assists. So it's how many times he'll find in the back of the net. If he has another 40 plus goal season, which I think he's capable of, I don't think that's far fetched. Then he's having another 100 plus season, and he's in the conversation. But most years 120 is going to have you very high on the leaderboard. Last year was an anomaly.
So so I really like Pettersson, Elias Pettersson with Vancouver, plus 7,000. That one I'm interested in. It's plus 7,000 for a reason. It's obviously long shot bet, but he caught a lot of flack in Vancouver last year for signing the deal and kind of falling off the face of the earth. I'm interested to see how he bounces back, plus 7,000. Now, the one Toronto centric bet that I really like, and I'm not, recommending it or whatever. I'm just throwing this out here. The much maligned, the anti-hero in Toronto, Mitch Marner, plus 10,000 to win the Art Ross. Now, he's been hovering at like 99 points for the last 3 years. He just hasn't quite been able to break 100. He's always right there in the high 90s. He missed, I think, 10 games last year. He has some injuries, so he'd have to stay healthy and play all 82 or at least like 78, 79. Why I like this bet is you cannot go a day in this city without talking about Mitch Marner. Should they trade him? Should they sign him? Should they let him walk? What to do with Mitch Marner? Mitch Marner, it's all this city talks about, all the city cares about. One of two things happens with this guy. He's a superstar. He's one of the best players in the league, one of the best wingers in the league. There's not even a question about that. What's really interesting to me with Mitch Marner is one of two things happen. The weight of the city crushes him, and he just doesn't have a good year. Or it's a contract year. He, sticks his middle fingers up to Toronto and says, watch me. And he goes off. And he's always hovering around 100 points. He's always racking up the assists. If he starts shooting the puck a bit more as well, I don't know. Mitch Marner plus 10,000. I feel like it's not the worst bet, man. Like, he's playing with Austin Matthews.
Yep.
The way that Toronto works, now we have a new coach, so we'll see what happens. But the way Toronto works, he'll get playing time with, William Nylander. He's playing with Austin Matthews. He's on that first power play unit, which is top 5 in the year every single year. He's going to have every opportunity to get as many points as he wants. So, like, Mitch Marner plus 10,000 is probably my favorite long shot to get the Art Ross.
I like that, because I was looking at Matthews. I'm like, yeah, he's going to get all the goals, but he doesn't get enough assists to get the Art Ross. Marner, he's a better option. I would rather bet on Marner than Matthews for the Art Ross. That did, though, Mark, I must say. I saw a video the other day. It was Leafs players they were listening to goal horns. They were trying to figure out who it was. Nobody on the team except John Tavares knew the Leafs goal horn. They all knew Boston's, though.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough watch.
Isn't it like, you make my dreams come true?
See, they weren't doing...
Are you talking about the actual horn itself?
They were doing the actual horn. They weren't doing the
Oh, gotcha.
Nobody... John Tavares is the only one that knew the Maple Leafs horn.
He's a savvy veteran, man.
Yeah, they asked Marner for the Toronto one. They were like, hey, Marner, like, you've heard this one a lot. And he immediately just went, Boston? No, it's yours, dude. But then when he heard Boston, he was like, oh, yeah, this one's Boston. So,
he's just...
PTSD is... hot.
Yeah, I was going to say. Well, so there's some really funny videos coming out from training camp of like John Tavares, because he's like 34 now, turning 35 this season. And there's some like really funny videos coming out of him with like Matthew Nyes, who's like 23, and all these like really young players who are like 21, 22, and they just call him dad. They all he's just the dad of the team now. John Tavares, just such a dad guy. Absolutely love it. And I'm his age. I'm a year older than John Tavares, which is the weirdest thing to say, but it is what it is. All right. Any more long shots you like?
No, I'm good here.
All right. Let's move on to, for whatever reason, this is like my favorite award to talk about, and I'm not really too sure why. Maybe it's Toronto syndrome, but the Jack Adams Award. Jack Adams, best coach of the year. Not going to be Robert Saleh. Oh my gosh, where is it? Oh, here we go. All right. Surprise, surprise. The two teams that I've already talked about, if one thing happens, then they'll, if these teams make it to the playoffs, then these goalies will win the Vezina. These are the first two coaches here on FanDuel. Sheldon Keefe, New Jersey Devils, plus 700. Travis Green, Ottawa Senators, plus 800. Andrew Burnett with the Predators plus 900. Chris Knobloch for the Oilers plus 1100. Craig Berube of the Toronto Maple Leafs plus 1200. And Andre Tourigny of Utah plus 1400. John Hines, Minnesota plus 1700. Spencer Carberry plus 1700. Washington. Who are you looking at for the Jack Adams in 24-25?
Yeah, immediately, I don't know about you, I'm jumping to Nashville. I mean, we've been bigging this team up for most of the offseason. We loved them in the postseason. We think they have big things in store for 2024, 2025. So John Hines, come on down. He's plus 2,200 on DK. He's behind, I'm good at math, I swear, 9 coaches. If we're expecting 100-point seasons from them, we're expecting them to be jump from wild card to probably top 2 in the division. I think we both had them top 2, definitely top 3. I think that's a really good bet. That team has a goaltender. It's a great foundation. Obviously, they improved the defense for sure. They should have better scoring in theory. We'll see how it plays out in practice. But I really like John Hines here more than really anybody else on here. I guess you could go
I don't mean
your
to correct
guy
you on the spot,
Jersey.
but are you talking about Nashville's coach?
Yeah.
Or Minnesota?
Oh, that's Andrew Burnett.
Yeah.
I did say John Hines like a million times. No, Andrew Burnett.
I don't want to correct you on the spot, but I want to make sure we're on the same page, you know?
We were on the same page. I just, Midwest, it all sounds the same to me. My apologies, world. It's Andrew Burnett. And he's plus 700. I don't know where I got John Hines from. I think I just got infatuated by the plus 2,200.
Oh yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah. But that's my favorite.
Yeah, I really like that too. Sorry, what is Burnett on DraftKings?
Burnett is plus 700 on DraftKings.
Plus 700. He's plus 900 on FanDuel. If you want some better odds, I find it so. I'm interested in a couple of these. Number one, I think Sheldon Keefe is he's the favorite for a reason. Plus 700 on FanDuel. I think Sheldon Keefe is pretty simple. If the Devils are in the top 3 in the Met and make it to the playoffs, I think he wins. I think he wins it. I don't think it has to be as crazy as him winning the division. I think if he sneaks in like the bottom 2 wild card spots, then maybe he won't get it. But if he makes it to the playoffs in the top 3, if he wins the division, then I think for sure. But I hate myself for even saying this out loud, but you can't escape it or deny it. If Travis Green gets Ottawa to the playoffs, I think it's an automatic slam dunk. Like, Ottawa has been such a disappointment year after year after year. And not only that, man, like, I remember talking about this last year, like, their attention to detail, it was just absolutely awful. Whether it was in the offensive zone, the defensive zone, it didn't matter. Like, Ottawa's attention to detail was so bad that if Travis Green can get this team to the playoffs, I think it's an absolute slam dunk. I love the Andrew Burnett bet. The only thing about it is that Nashville did make it to the playoffs last year. So I think that they would really have to show out this year. Like, I think they would really have to be, top 3 in the division. Maybe, I mean, if Nashville wins the division, then again, I think that's pretty sure thing. But I do think that if Ottawa makes it to the playoffs, That's it. Makes it to the playoffs. I think it's a slam dunk, Travis Green, because that gong show in Ottawa has been so bad for so long that I really do think that all they have to do is just get in, and I think he wins it. I've had people ask me about, Craig Berube. Do I like him to win it here in Toronto plus 1,200? I think Toronto would have to have a historically good season for him to win it. I think that they would have to win the division going away. I think they would have to win the President's Trophy. I think that Toronto would have to really have a dominant year for Craig Berube to win it. Just because Toronto is top 5, top 8 in points every single year. You know what I mean? Toronto isn't this reclamation project that Toronto's big problem is they can't win in the playoffs. They have no problem winning in the regular season. Sheldon Keefe for the Leafs over the last 5 years has top 3 winning percentage of all head coaches in the last 5 years. So, to me, the only way Craig Berube wins this is if Toronto wins the division, and or wins. I guess there's no or, and wins the President's Trophy. I think they have to have Boston circa 22-23, just a crazy historical year for him to win it. I'm interested in Spencer Carberry with Washington plus 1,700. I'm weirdly high on this team. I'm interested about that. John Tortorella, remember in December last year, everyone was just ready to give this guy, and then he, broke his wrist and everything just fell off the map. So John Tortorella is an interesting one. And all these other ones like Peter DeBoer, Peter Laviolette, Jared Bednar, those guys are already on really good teams, and I don't know what would have to happen for those guys to win. The one that I'm really, really interested in, and I would be interested to hear what you think about this. Martin St. Louis of the Montreal Canadiens is plus 3,000. Now, as we talked about in the division previews last week, full team previews last week, I'm high on this Montreal team. Now, Patrick Laine being out is a big deal, no doubt about it. But if Montreal makes it to the playoffs, then absolutely the Canadiens, the difference between the Canadiens and Ottawa is Ottawa was supposed to make it to the playoffs 3 years ago, where Montreal is not supposed to. But Montreal is a very competitive team. They work really hard. You're not going to just, go to Montreal, grab 2 points and leave. That's going to be a battle. It's going to be hard to get 2 points against these Canadiens this year. If Montreal makes it to the playoffs, that's my favorite long shot bet is plus 3,000 Martin St. Louis. If that team is good even if they get in the last wild card, it doesn't matter. I love Martin St. Louis at plus 3,000 because I think Montreal to make it to the playoffs, it's plus 750 or something like that. So if you think Montreal can make it to the playoffs, never mind the make it to the playoffs bet at plus 750. You're taking Martin St. Louis plus 3,000.
Yeah, if the Montreal makes it, Marty's locked. Don't even think about anybody else.
Yeah,
it's very steep.
Oh yeah, it's plus 3,000 for a reason. If we're looking at long shot bets, that's my favorite one by a mile. All right, let's wrap up the awards before we get into the 3 games in the NHL tonight. Let's wrap it up with everybody's favorite topic of conversation this time of year, the Hart Trophy. Who will win the Hart? Let me pull it up here. So again, FanDuel has the Hart Trophy winner, Hart Trophy finalist, and Hart Trophy winner McDavid versus the Field. McDavid plus 150, Field minus 198. Favorites in this category: Connor McDavid plus 150, Nathan MacKinnon plus 500, Matthews plus 850, Jack Hughes plus 1100, Kucherov plus 1800, Draisaitl plus 2000, Cale Makar plus 2000, David Pastrnak plus 2000. Kaprizov also plus 2,000. Connor Bedard is plus 3,000, which seems a little short. From I feel like he should be much longer odds. What do you got for the Hart Trophy?
Yeah, let's not McDavid. Let's assume voter fatigue again. They don't want to go McDavid. Yep. They don't want to go back to Mac. They don't want to go back to Kucherov, who I think should. And who are the options then? Matthews, best goal scorer of the generation, pretty good odds. Not bad. Jack Hughes, sneaky. We didn't talk about him for Art Ross. Sneaky Art Ross candidate if he can stay healthy for a full season. You expect that team to make the playoffs, unlike last year. I think Jack Hughes is at some point in his career, you think he's going to win an Art Ross, or not Art Ross, but a Hart. Though just how talented he is,
fair
playmaking ability, pilots to power play. Maybe it's this year. Who knows? I think he's plus 1,300 where I'm at. I'm sure he's at least quadruple digits on FanDuel. Jack Hughes might be a good one. Draisaitl, I'm going to toss him out. Kaprizov, I'm going to toss him out. I just don't think the Wild are going to do enough. I don't think he's personally going to do enough. Pasternak's an interesting one. A very talented player. You feel like he's always going to be in the conversation. Is he ever going to, be the top of that conversation? Odds are worth sprinkling on. Chances, probably not the best. Panarin, if he wins Art Ross, that's his only path to getting it. And that's kind of a long shot, so I'm not sure about that one. Cale Makar, going to be interesting. If he has, let's say he has a 100-point season as a defenseman. Let's say the Avalanche win the President's Trophy. Let's say he has more points than MacKinnon somehow. Let's not think about the logistics right now. Do you give it to Makar? Maybe you do. I don't know. I like, for the non-McDavid options, I like Matthews, I like Hughes, I like Makar.
Yeah, the same reason why I don't think Draisaitl, and I know it's kind of different, but the same reason why I don't think Draisaitl will win it is the same reason why I don't think Makar will win it. Not that Makar shouldn't win it. I can see him like deserving it. But the fact that he has MacKinnon on the same team, I don't know. That's the kind of thing that kind of throws me off. Matthews was right there for the Hart Trophy last year, right there all year long. And it I don't know, kind of pissed me off because people were saying at the end of last year, if Matthews hits 70, he's a lock to win the Hart Trophy. He scored 69. 69 goals wasn't good enough to get the Hart? You know what I mean? It's like if he got one more goal, if he hit 70, then he's the Hart winner. I think Matthews is a really good bet. I'm with you on the Jack Hughes thing, man, at plus 1,100. You said what, plus 1,300 over there?
For Matthews?
For Hughes.
Oh, Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes. Yeah, I really like Jack Hughes. If we're not going McDavid, if we're not going Matthews, if we're not going MacKinnon, I really like Jack Hughes plus 1,100 for the same reason that I like Sheldon Keefe to win the Jack Adams, and I like Markstrom to win the Vezina. I just think if this team has a strong year, the biggest thing, you said it though, man, Jack Hughes, the kid has to stay healthy. He has to find a way to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing for him. And And so, but I really like Jack Hughes to win this award. If he can stay healthy and this team goes on a run in the regular season, there's no doubt in my mind that he'll be up there for the award. It's like this award more than any other. I don't really care for long shots too much, just because like very, very rarely do you make it to the do you not make it to the playoffs and win the MVP. Like it's very, very rare. And so, yeah, Connor Bedard plus 3,000. This is why I think Connor Bedard should be much longer odds than this. I don't think plus 3,000 is actually good odds for Connor Bedard, because if he's not going to win like the Hart if they don't make it to the playoffs, and they're not going to make it to the playoffs. So, I'm not a big fan of that. Kirill Kaprizov, again, plus 2,000. What? Can I help you?
Unless.
They do?
Just saying.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is like, I think, like, the reason why I don't like plus 3,000 for Connor Bedard is because if, like, dude, for the Black, like what is it for the Blackhawks to make it to the playoffs? I can't remember. Like, do you remember?
It's probably like plus 10,000 or something like that. 7,500, I think. Actually, I think it was plus 7,500.
Okay, so if it's plus 7,500 for them to make it to the playoffs, and it's only plus 3,000 for him to win the Hart, like I just think like I'm down with the Blackhawks making it to the playoffs. You know me. I'm all about it. But plus he's not going to win it if they don't make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
so
100%
to me,
you're spot on with that.
Yeah, so to me it's like these odds should be in the 5,000s, maybe even longer. I don't know. But yeah. All right. There it is. Our award preview. You got anybody else? You good?
I mean, since we're shooting down the Blackhawks' miracle run to the conference finals, I guess I'm done.
Sorry, I know. I'm a, what do they call it? Debbie Downer or whatever.
Yeah. Joy kill.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's anybody else. I love me some Wyatt Johnston plus 10,000, but I don't see that happening.
Some of the goalie ones are interesting. Because you never know. If a guy triple crowns, not just triple crowns, but like runs away with the Vezina.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Sidney Crosby, haven't even talked about him once on this show. Plus 15,000.
Good.
Plus, yeah. Rangers fan hater.
We play him tomorrow. I'd be loving that guy. What is he? Plus 10,000?
What's that?
He said he was plus 10,000.
15,000.
That honestly, that might be worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sidney Crosby plus 15,000, not bad. You're just gonna have to bite the bullet, bro. Just have to swallow your pride, as they say.
If I'm not betting Jack Hughes, then I think he's gonna win. I'm definitely not betting Sidney Crosby.
Zach Hyman plus 20,000. Can he get past McDavid and Draisaitl? I don't know, but or maybe Utah goes on a run and Clayton Keller plus 20,000. Not bad.
Oh.
All right, we're starting to talk lunacy. Yeah, we're starting to talk lunacy here. Let's move on. That is our that is our award betting predictions. Now, guess what, Andre? I don't know if you remember this or not, because we started the show an hour and 9 minutes ago. But there are games tonight, bro. And the St. Louis Blues, your St. Louis Blues, are in Seattle, 4:30 p.m. EST. The Kraken, when I wrote this, the Kraken were minus 150. They are now minus 156. The Blues plus 130. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 194. Kraken minus 1.5 plus 160. The over is 5.5 at minus 130, and the under is plus 106. Andre, my man, what do you got for your St. Louis Blues? Your St. Louis Blues against the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, so looked at the matchups from last year. St. Louis, 3 games, 6 points. That's how you do it. But 2 of them were in overtime. It wasn't like they just absolutely destroyed the Kraken. They escaped with 2 of them. So shifting this game, season opener, Climate Pledge Arena. I like this Kraken team more than I like the Blues. I think we all know that by now. I don't really like either offense. I'm going to go under 5.5 at plus 110 here. Low regular season risk to get the season started. I just don't see it with either offense, especially not getting their feet wet with the first game of the season. I will say, and I don't think this is going to surprise you at all, I like the Kraken to win. I think I'm going to take the 60-minute line at plus 105 in lieu of the puck line, just because I don't expect a lot of scoring from either side. Goals in the first period, in the first 10 minutes, under half a goal in the first 10 minutes is plus 110.
Ooh.
I like a low-scoring game. I think I like that as well. So that's what I have for this one.
Yeah, that's a good bet. Yeah, that's a good bet. I like that one as well. Uncharacteristic for us right off the bat. Last season, if you followed us all year long, Andre and I on the same page a lot, but we're off on the wrong foot here, Andre, because I'm taking St. Louis plus 130. I just think, it's the first game of the year. This is kind of how it is. Who really knows what's about to happen? I like St. Louis's goaltending better. I think St. Louis has a real chip on the shoulder, man. They got their coach fired last year. I think they're out to prove something. Are they going to make it to the playoffs? Are they going to be good in the long term? Who really knows? But I think St. Louis will win this game tonight, plus 130. I also think with Seattle, they're getting a lot of love for adding Montour. They're getting a lot of love for adding Stevenson. We talked about this last week. I don't really know how much that's going to make a difference off the bat. I think that it's going to take some time for those changes to really prove themselves. I really like St. Louis in this one at plus 130. I'll take the under 2 with you, though. I agree with you. Plus 106 for under 5.5 on FanDuel. I really like that one. As far as goal scorers go, you have your typical, Jared McCann, Jordan Kyrou, Jordan Eberle. Jake Neighbors and Pavel Buchnevich both signed their deals this summer. Neighbors is plus 260. Buchnevich is also plus 260. So I like one of those. I don't know which one, but I like one of those. I'll go with Neighbors. Give me some Neighbors anytime goal plus 260. And I like your under half a goal in the first 10 minutes too. I think that's a really good bet as well. So I'll take St. Louis and I'll take the under. And give me a little Jake Neighbors plus 260 anytime goal. All right, moving on to Boston at Florida. The only good game of the night. I said it. Plus 126, the Boston Bruins in Florida, a rematch of the second round of the 2024 playoffs. Florida Panthers minus 152, raising their banner tonight. The over 5.5 is minus 115. The under is minus 105. I'm getting flashbacks to the playoffs with all these 5.5 totals. Plus 1.5 for the Bruins is minus 205. Minus 1.5 for the Panthers is plus 168. Andre, who you got for this one, bro?
Yeah, I know the Panthers punked the Bruins in the playoffs last year, but in the regular season, the Bruins won all 4 games. I know they're raising the banner tonight, raising the cup, or I guess they already raised the cup, but they're raising the banner tonight. They're celebrating. Blah, 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 blah. I think that's kind of going to work against the Panthers, kind of be too celebratory, too happy, too hangovery. And then we know that, especially in the regular season, Boston fans, New York fans, Toronto fans, they tend to take over those Florida arenas.
Yeah.
So expect a heavy Bruins contingency in Sunrise tonight. Remember with the Bruins, plus 126 here, or plus 130, whatever you got them at, to win this game. I think they're just, they're going to want to win more, especially how their season ended. They have I know he's not starting tonight, probably, but they have their goalie locked up, like all the drama's behind them. I think the Bruins want and need to get off on the right foot and having a chance to avenge their defeat. It won't make up for anything in the past, but it'll, satiate the present, make them feel better. Florida, they won it all. Who cares? You could take a game off, right? Yeah, give me the Bruins in this one. I don't like the total. I don't really know which way it's going to go. But I do think that the Bruins are going to come out on top.
I agree with you with all of that. I like Boston plus 126 as well. I don't like the total either way. Kind of stay away from it. The one thing, and I said this before when we're talking about the Vezina, talking about Jeremy Swayman, the one thing I am worried about with Boston and with Korpisalo, I do wonder. That's the one thing that kind of makes me a bit like iffy on this game tonight. I think I'm more fading Florida for just like the banner raising and the hype and the hoopla. I think Boston as a team, they're going to be ready to play. I like Boston as a team. The one thing I don't trust is Korpisalo, but I also think like Korpisalo is a good goalie and he went to Ottawa and that's where goalies go to die. So I think there's some recency bias here where you go to Ottawa, the defensive structure was awful. The defensemen were awful. Everything about that situation last year was awful. Now he's coming to Boston. That is the 100% complete opposite, right? You have one of the best 6 defensemen in the NHL. Very good defensive-minded coaches. I do think Korpisalo will be fine, but that is one thing that's making me a little bit hesitant on this. But I'll take Boston at plus 126 as well. The one thing, we're back throwing this out here. Pasternak to score is plus 140. Let's get shot out of a cannon, start the season with a bang. Plus 5 shots for Pasternak is plus 134. Let's just start this season firing. Plus 134. Maybe it's because I watched the first episode of Face Off on Amazon last night, and I got a little love affair with David Pasternak. Did you watch that, by the way? That new series?
No.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I really liked it. I thought it was phenomenal. I had to relive like the Leafs Game 7 loss to Boston, which ripped my soul out of my chest. But is your soul in your chest? Where is your soul? Your heart's in your chest. That was ripped out. I don't know where your soul is exactly. But anyway, that's a deeper spiritual conversation for a different podcast. But David Pasternak plus 134 to get 5+ shots. It's a bit long shotty, but I like it.
I like it too. You just kind of short-circuited me with the whole soul thing. Very contemplative right now.
It's a deep question, man. Maybe your whole body, maybe your soul is just consumes you. I don't know. We'll start a spirituality podcast and we'll let the people know. We'll talk about it there. All right, moving on to the last game of the night to wrap up the triple header. The Chicago Blackhawks in Utah plus 142 for Chicago. Utah minus 172, plus 1.5 for the Blackhawks minus 172, minus 1.5 for Utah's plus 142, over 6.5 plus 106, under 6.5 is minus 130. Andre, my guy, what do you see Chicago, Utah?
I keep spreading this Blackhawks propaganda, and they have a winnable game to open their season on the road. I mean, nobody knows how Delta Center is going to respond to their first ever NHL team or NHL game, I guess regular season game, I'll say. But we do know based on the Utah Jazz that it'll probably be rowdy. They'll probably have a passionate fan base.
Oh, yeah.
It'll probably be very loud in there. It's going to be interesting to watch. I don't think it faces the Blackhawks, not these Blackhawks. They added so much in the offseason. I think that their offense is going to put on a show. I think they're going to show people that they're the real deal, especially that top six. I like the over in this game. I think it's going to be tight. I might even say overtime or a shootout. And I think the Blackhawks come out on top. Give it to me. Plus 142 Chicago Blackhawks money line. And you know I got to do it to them. Blackhawks to score first. Are we back? We're back.
Ooh.
That's right. First goal, Blackhawks plus 110. You can put it on the board. Absolutely. I'm not going to tell you who it's going to be. Might be Philip Kurashev. Might be Connor Bedard. I don't really care. You know it's the moneymaker. Blackhawks first goal, plus 110.
That reminds me of a really good football bet that didn't pan out this past week, but that reminds me of like at least last year, and it's worked so far this year for the most part. But when the Pittsburgh Steelers play opponent to win the half, Steelers to win the game, that's like that bet is just it's always super plus money, and it's always dope. That was that bet for us last year, man. Blackhawks to score first, that hit a million times. I would love to know exactly how many times it did hit. But so I got a little parlay right off the bat for you, all right? You're not going to agree with the first part of this, but you'll agree with the rest of it.
Yeah.
St. Louis to win plus 130, all right? It's 4:30. You're getting the kids home from school, doing whatever you do, getting dinner ready. You're watching that hits. Everything's cool. Dinner's done. The kids are doing their homework or playing video games. Dad sits on the couch or mom sits on the couch, watches Boston plus 126. Then the kids are in bed. The evening's done. You cuddle up and you watch the Chicago Blackhawks win plus 142. Altogether, that's 1157. A little underdog parlay. $10 wins. $10 wins you $115. Underdog parlay. Just a great day in the NHL. I like the Blackhawks to win today as well at plus 142. I mean, this could go one of either ways, right? It could be the same as the whole Florida situation where Utah, it's just a lot, man. Like, this is a really big deal. I don't think we fully understand or talk about enough how big of a deal it is for that team to get out of that stupid arena and playing in a city that doesn't care about them and going to Utah. Like, I think this is a really, really big deal. And I think it's really going to be a lot, man. I think it's going to be a lot. I think the like energy is going to be really high. I think the excitement, the nerves, the jitters, whatever you want to say. I like Utah this year. I think they have a real good chance to make it to the playoffs. Nothing against them. I just think tonight is a really, really big night. I think that we underestimate just how monumental this is, not just for Utah, but for these players, man. Like, they're finally a real NHL team. And I think this is going to be a really overwhelming night. And also, we're going to say this probably more than we thought we would. I like Chicago's goaltending better than I like Utah's goaltending. I actually really do like Chicago's goalies. I think Chicago has a good team. And I think for them to be a competitive team night in and night out is to be expected. So give me Chicago plus 142 as well. And I'll throw it out there. My guy, Connor Bedard, plus 185. The one bet that hit for me a lot last year, and I'm going to go back to the well right now, is plus 3. Oh, it's not even on here. Dude, that's brutal. Kraus, man. Kraus to get 3+ shots. That cashed for me so much last year. And I don't see it on here right now. But whatever. I'll pivot. Clayton Keller, 4+ shots, plus 125. Give it to me. All right. So, as always, at the end of the show, we haven't done this in a while. The first, I guess we kind of did it over the weekend for the Global Series, but our first best bets segment of the 24-25 season, brought to you, of course, by First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want on the entire First Round Collectibles store. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com, FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing. You want it, they got it. Go to FirstRoundCollectibles.com today and find your heroes. Andre, best bets. What do you got?
Yeah, I kind of just want to get this one out the way. So I'm just going to do it. Goal in first 10 minutes. Blues, Kraken, under half a goal. It's now plus 120 on DK. I don't know what it is on FanDuel, but I'm locking it in. I just want some action early. I just want to see one hit the bottom of the net, hit the back of the net. It's hockey. Excuse me. Nice and quick. I guess not hit the back of the net in this case, but
I love it. And man, I'm going back and forth here. I didn't even talk about this. I really like the under in Chicago, Utah. I think that under is going to hit as well. Kind of risky off the bat, fading the Stanley Cup champions, but I'm going to do it. Let's take the Boston Bruins, man. Plus 126. I think that's my favorite bet of the night. I really like your bet as well. I think that's a really, really good bet. Yeah, plus 126. There's only two of us. What do we do now? Do we pick a third bet or we just leave it at 2? Although,
we need a
I don't.
right?
What's that?
So we could consensus bet. What do we agree on? Put our brains.
Yeah, well, I don't know how it works on DK, but on FanDuel, if you have no sweat parlay, it has to be 3 legs, right? So we got to help the people out. I don't know what it's like for DK, but that's how it is for FanDuel. So, yeah, man. Like, what do we like? We like the under Chicago.
We agreed on the Blackhawks money line.
Oh yeah, let's just send it, bro.
Let's just roll with it. This is no sweat.
Night of the year.
It's no sweat.
Love it. Chicago plus 142. Let's do it.
Lock it in. All right. Is it on me?
Yeah, on you. What do we got?
Wrapping it up. We got the under. We got under 0.5 goals, half a goal, whatever. In the first 10 minutes of Blues at Kraken, plus 120. Following it up at 7, we have the Boston Bruins money line on the road at plus 130. And then last but not least, another road dog, the Chicago Blackhawks, plus 142 in Salt Lake City. 3-leg parlay. It is plus 1124 on DraftKings.
Absolutely Love it. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching, whether you're watching live or throughout the day. We appreciate you. Enjoy the games. Again, shout out to First Round Collectibles, 10% off every card with promo code Sports Addict. And shout out to our guys, our family at Total Apex Sports. Thank you so much for having us on board. Check out totalapexsports.com for full team previews, betting previews, whatever you want. We'll be back. Give us 5 minutes. We're going to talk about tomorrow's
With some
games.
breaking
We'll be back. We'll see you